I'd like to call the meeting of the Maple Run Unified School District Board of Directors for Wednesday, August 20th, 25 to order. It's about 6:05, is it? p.m. We are at the Collins Pearly Sports and Fitness Center. Collins Pearly, thank you so much for hosting our meeting. First thing I'd like to do is welcome our Assistant Superintendent to her first official meeting of the board. So welcome, Megan Gruby. It's an honor to have you here, and I hope you enjoy being on this board as much as we do. Also, I'd like to ask the board to go around and just state their names and anything else they'd like to say, just so Megan and whoever else would get the information. I'll start. My name is Nilda Ganella French, and I am the chair of the board tonight. I've been on this board or similar board, school boards, for many years, and I really enjoy it, and I think we play an integral role in the education of students in Franklin County. Next.
My name is Carly Gunderson, and I live in St. Albans City.
My name's Joanna Jarose, and I live in Fairfield. Big deal.
I'm Jack McCarthy. I live in I represent the town, and I've been on the board, about 6 years, 7 years, something like that.
Since I've been here.
And he still doesn't spell his phone number.
And I still haven't learned it.
Hi, I'm Jessica Kupachewski, and I live in the town.
I'm Amanda Giroux. I live in the town, and my son is a student at Syntec.
I'm Charlie Brooks. I have been on the board for 3 years now, I think, and I've got a child in city school and a child going to BFA this year.
You know Bill.
Yeah, I probably should say Bill Kimball, superintendent, for those who might not know.
Mary Ann Doobie, Fairfield. This is my second full school year.
Jessica Frost, St. Albans Town. I have 2 kids who went through the system and one who's at BFA. And I think what makes our district very special is the teachers and how much they care about the kids.
I'm Suzanne Kenyon. I live in the city, and this is my 3rd year on the board. I have a 13-year-old at SATEC. Welcome.
Thank you. Next item is the agenda review. What I have to say this, because I was sent it to Bill and Charlie on Monday when we prepped. I'm so excited that we have the band together again. You're supposed to laugh now.
I was laughing.
Okay. I see you're going to be a tough room, so I'll just okay, so agenda review. The first thing I'd like to do is move item 8E to just after 6A. That's the Northwest Center building trades discussion. We're doing this to accommodate Laz and get him out of here so we can get down to business. Hearing no other changes, correct? The agenda is accepted without objection. Thank you. Next item is the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Please rise and join me for a Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for that. Next item on the agenda is the visitor section. Do we have anyone in the room that wishes to address the board? Okay, we have people in the room, but they don't want to address the board. Do we have anyone online that wishes to address the board?
There is no one online, no, Ben.
Okay, well, thank you all for that. That concludes the visitor section of our agenda. The consent agenda is the next item on the agenda. We have 3 items on that, and that is the approval of the minutes, the media packet, and the staff changes. Anyone have any questions or wish to pull out any of those items for discussion? Hearing none, we're going to approve the consent agenda. Next item is reports to the board. This is where we moved item 8E, building trades. So I'm going to turn over to those that know about this, which is Laz and Bill and
Leanne, Bright, and Lisa
Leanne.
DeRocha. So,
Thank you.
I'm going to quickly turn this over to Laz Gangas, who's the district's architect. As I told the board last June, we were starting to realize some issues that are happening with the buildings trade building, which I hope everyone recalls. We've been there for board meetings. It's the one that's separate from the Northwest Tech Center, and was white, is now blue, I believe, if my colors are right. I never trust my own colors, so. We've hit some issues, and we asked Laz to do some research on permitting of the building and current issues that we're seeing with that building. So I'd like to introduce Laz Gangas from Gangas and Architects. I think all of us know Laz, but he was here to give us a report of what he's been able to find.
Can I stand,
Yeah.
or you want me to sit? How do you?
Whatever's easiest for you,
Okay.
Laz.
Did everybody get this little thing in the mail by any chance? Okay. So, I'm Laz Gangas, I'm a local architect. I graduated from BFA way back in '77. And I've had 2 daughters go through the school, so just because everybody said that, I figured I'd say. This started back when Len Smith called us and said, we have to replace an outside stair at building trades. And we said, okay, and I sent Jonathan from my office out to take some measurements so we could draw something up. And he came back and he said, Laz, I think you need to come look at this. So, I don't know how many are familiar with the building, but there's a stair out of the back of the building. And the intent was, that was your second way out of the second floor. The problem is, and I'm gonna give her a word, picture is worth 1,000 words. So I'm just gonna pass a couple of pictures. One shows the stair, and then one shows the means of egress or means of escape. So you're supposed to come down the stair, that's what the plan was and is, and then you would go between the building and a fence to get out of the building and get to a safe place. The problem is, if the building was on fire, you're not getting out of there, because there isn't, you're caught and you'll see the pictures. So we went back to Len and said, this stair is not gonna work. I don't feel comfortable designing it, it's not gonna meet code. And so we went inside the building and started to look, is there a way we can make this work? And the internal stair, which is your second means of egress, is not a legal stair by code. So that brought us up, okay, what are we gonna do now? Because the minute we touch the building, we're gonna bring it up to code. So we couldn't figure out why this was approved. So I went to Williston, to the Department of Fire Safety, and I went through all their files they have on this building. And I did a summary at the end, and the building was built, it got a permit for an addition, it got another permit for another addition, and the second floor was always supposed to be used for storage. And then one visit by the inspector, whoever was representing the school said, we might put classrooms on the second floor. So the inspector in his report wrote, we need to submit drawings, we need to review exiting before you do anything. and then the paperwork slowly disappears. So there isn't, we got the drawings, we approved it, so there's not even a certificate of occupancy.
You want to explain for those who don't know what a certificate of occupancy does?
That's when the fire inspector, the fire marshal comes, inspects the building, says you can occupy it. There's no paperwork that says any of this. No paperwork that says we reviewed the drawings for the second floor with classrooms, and they're approved to have classrooms on the second floor. So there is a permit that follows that they put a fire alarm system in. That's about it. So we got a little nervous here. How are we gonna do this? And I approached Bill and I said, Bill, we gotta redo the stair that's there. We gotta build a new stair that's there, that isn't there yet, which kicks into ADA. The building is not accessible. 2 of the permits that were issued for the additions and the building said the building had to be accessible. It's not accessible. It has an accessible bathroom in it, but you can't get into it. So the minute you build a new stair to the second floor and do some major framing, which we would have to do, means you have to now have the second floor accessible. Of course, somehow you gotta make the first floor accessible. So there's a bunch of stuff going on. So at this point, you can use the building as it is, but only the first floor. I would not recommend using the second floor. You get an outside stair that really needs to be replaced. It's really not safe. It has a gas meter right underneath it. I mean, it's just, and if you look at the pictures, if you see that alleyway and there's sawhorses and everything blocked, I mean, it's just not a safe situation. I feel because of this building is existing, that you're okay using it, but if you had a student who needed accessibility, you'd have to make accommodations. And what those accommodations would be at this point, I don't know. We haven't looked at it. I mean, the building is on a slope up to the building from the parking lot. I'm not even sure. We did a design where we did an addition in front to be able to get someone into it and get into the building, but it's not the right answer. So Leanne's going to talk more, but that's sort of just a gist of the issues with the building. Yes,
So, I'm sorry, you said the first floor is or is not
it is
accessible?
not accessible.
You want to explain a little bit of why that is? Because some people might think like, hey, wait a minute, it's level going in that front garage
Well, I'm
door.
talking handicap accessible. I'm not talking regular people accessible.
No, I understand
Yeah.
that, but just like Bill said,
Yeah, you
it's
just wanna
like a
explain
garage
that.
door that opens up and it's level with the ground.
They don't understand
Yeah, but
this.
the ground is like that to get to the garage door.
The slope is
Slope.
too steep.
The slope.
You can only rise a 1/4 inch per foot to be, or less, to be within ADA. And the pitch of that parking lot is much greater than a 1/4 inch per foot. So you have to have a parking space up there and then have that grade or less to get into the building.
And it's just on 3 sides, it's too steep. You couldn't even have a bus drop off a student right in front of the building. It's too steep.
Do you want
In
to,
fact, at the door, there's a step up. So,
Okay.
do you want to explain what we found with the property situation as well?
yes. So we also found out, we had a preliminary boundary survey done. And on the north side of, actually, let me step back. At one time, the school owned from the back of the building to Lincoln Avenue. And it owned from the north side of the building to some point. Both those pieces of property were sold off by the school. What we found is there's a shed addition that was built that is 5 feet onto the property to the north. So either you gotta buy some property or we tear off that 1-story addition. So that's the other piece to this. So there's really a number of issues with the building that need to be accommodated. I think you're okay to use it the first floor only. Again, if someone comes in that has accessibility needs, you're gonna have to accommodate.
And if we were to use the other piece that you told Leanne and I, if we were to use the second floor, not only do we have to make it accessible, we have to make bathrooms up there.
Yeah.
There has to be at least a ADA bathroom on the second floor, which there aren't any bathrooms
There's no
on
bathrooms up there right
the second floor.
now. So, and that's really in that summary that I sent out, and you can see on the second page, it talks about the permits and what the permits said and didn't say. So that's a good summary, and I included also a picture so you can see the building and show the property line. And you can see on this side of that little one-story addition overhangs. And then you can also see this alleyway, and like I said, the pictures, I mean, that, looking down that alleyway and seeing the fencing, sawhorses, I mean, you can't get out safely. It's not safe. Any questions?
So are we using the space for this upcoming year, like next week?
We're gonna talk about that. That's where next. I just wanna make sure everyone's clear on kind of where the building's at right now and what we're living with current conditions.
I mean, the building is fire alarm, the first floor is okay, it's really the second floor that's an issue. And you really shouldn't be using the second floor other than storage.
All right, so
Bill Laz, I have a question.
Yes,
Hilda.
I know who you are.
So, this situation didn't happen overnight.
No, I think it happened over the things that, you know, they went after permits, they built an addition. I think the big one that happened is when they were told that they need to submit drawings to occupy the second floor for classrooms and deal with exiting, and it didn't happen. Again, I went down and looked at the paperwork, you know, they didn't have the drawings are sold, they got rid of them. We do have some drawings that were done, that they used, and Mike Dugan was the architect, and his drawings say second floor storage only. So, who did it, who dealt with it, I don't know, but
Excuse me.
it all started with,
Yeah.
the stair needs to be replaced. I mean, that's kind of.
I'm not looking to blame anyone, I was just trying to get sort of a sense of how long it was, just for my own head.
Well,
Thank you.
it's been as long as,
2003.
yeah,
excuse me, probably 2002, because that was the first time the inspector reported that the school was thinking of using the second floor for classrooms.
Okay,
And the next permit is in 2003, and that's for a fire alarm. But there's nothing else in the paperwork that says anything about second floor being used and all that.
okay, thank you.
thanks, Laz.
Yep.
So Leanne, the three of us, but Leanne's been leading this, so it's her report. Talking about what we're going to do right now. Amanda, you asked that question, what we're going to do to open school, and what are our possible options going forward.
So not an ideal situation, but luckily we are able to use that first floor. And luckily, we were able to relocate one of the classrooms into an existing classroom that we have. You may or may not know, but we have a collaboration with the city currently, and so our level 2 students will be working on a house on Lower Newton, so they'll be off campus a lot. It does leave them without a classroom space when we have a varied schedule or they need to be on campus, but we're trying to work that out. What you should know is that we serve around 80 to 90 students in that building a day. each day. We have 80 to 90 kids that go in and out of there. And we have 2 full-time instructors, and then we have a half-time instructor that teaches the geometry and construction portion. I'm going to share with you some of the options that we explored. As Bill said, Laz and Bill and I sat down and thought of all the options, and perhaps you may have other thoughts. And also, we have an advisory committee that is required by the state for every single program, and so we're also working with them to see what their ideas and thoughts are as well. So one of the first options that Laz alluded to is to purchase the property to the north side of our building trades and add an addition. So that would be an option. We would still need to fix the egress and the ADA challenges that we have there. I'm going to also give you some pros and cons that we thought of on doing each option. So the pro for that one will be it could potentially offer us more square footage because we're tight in there right now. We have waiting lists for our program, and we could grow, but we can't because we're limited on our square footage. And of course, it would help our workforce if we were able to serve more students. A con to that is the costs. So a lot of these options, is going to cost us. Second option would be to tear the existing building down, just tear it all down and rebuild it. That could help with our square footage, unless there is an option to buy that property also, and again, expand that square footage. The pro there is it keeps our students on campus and could expand the program, and also would fix the egress and the ADA issues, and again, the con would be the costs of that. Third option is to add on to an existing building somewhere here at Maple Run. So somewhere on the BFA campus, somewhere on SATEC, the central office, wherever there could be a place where we could add on to an existing place, at Maple Run. That could cost less due to having the existing property. The con with that is we don't want our students to travel. So every time they leave our campus, it includes travel time away from instruction. And also when they're off of our campus, the student services, students can't access the services that they do or can in the building. Another option would be, and we've talked about this a lot, but it's never come to fruition, is to add a second floor to NCTC. So have a whole second floor. Of course, Laz would have to do his work to see if it is structurally sound, but we could potentially grow and service more students in career and tech ed if we were to do that. Leasing space could be an option as well. That could be a very quick and short-term turnaround for us this year if we were to able to find space. More than likely, we would have to do some renovations. Probably would cost less than rebuilding. Con on that is, again, the travel time. Whenever you're taking kids off campus, it's lost instructional time. The last option would be to close the program, which would not be one I would recommend, but I wanted to make sure there's all options on the table. Happy to take questions.
Is it feasible that any of the students could help if you did build?
Absolutely, yes. Yep, we would save on labor.
Some, because we can't, like with the project on Lower Newton Street, we have to have subs come in and do things that are hazardous.
Plumbing, electrical, there's timeliness in getting certain parts of the job done before weather sets in. Yeah, great question.
So are we strapped for parking still at BFA?
We are, that's actually another one, that's within one of those, is to take away parking and to build a building. You said attached, it could be attached or detached right behind the tech center in that back parking lot. And could we swap spaces with the existing building? But we still have to tear down that existing building.
And the land is for sale that could potentially be purchased or not?
We don't, Leanne's been looking into that a little bit.
I have, they are longtime land homeowners, and they have approached us many times to see if we were interested in buying it. And I think we them, just sort of wondering how the growth could go. So they're aware of the situation because we wanted to be really transparent with them, and they are very supportive of building trades. Their son went through the program. They're like, let us know what you need. We'll work with you. Obviously, they're not going to give it to us for free, but they're willing to work with us.
Yeah, I do want to say, when we're talking cost, think north of $3 million. $3 million. Sorry, I added a wrong phrase in there, but just north of $3 million is what we're talking about here.
Just for the land
There's-
purchase or for the total?
For just building something. Laz and I did some Laz did the calculations, confirmed with me, but just rough square footage. We're talking about 6,000 square feet we need. So,
Yeah, that was my question, like, a new build versus a renovation, you know, just looking at what those costs, I can't imagine they'd all be the same.
Laz, you want to speak about the difference between renovation?
The real issue with this building, it's so many little pieces that have been added on. It's not a very efficient use of space. So, I mean, it's gonna cost more to renovate it, and the issue is gonna be accessibility. You know, if we can buy if you decide to buy the property to the north, that's gonna make life a little easier in terms of accessibility, and we could add on to it. But in adding on to it, we're gonna really have to modify that existing building grab as much space as we can. Because, not to get technical, but right in the middle where the second floor is, there's 2 storage areas, but they're 3 feet down, and you have to go down a set of stairs. Ideally, if everything was on the same floor, that would be great. You could grab more space, so if we were to renovate it, we'd have to deal with that. Or if you have a new building, you can make that building meet your needs and not try to fit into something that already has physical restrictions. So I think there's a balance there. Does it make sense does it make sense to pour in money into a building that has all sorts of issues that you're gonna try to shoehorn in, rather to do something new which can meet your needs and work, be energy efficient, be state-of-the-art, versus something that's been cobbled together.
Yeah, I wasn't advocating to do.
No. I'm just
I was
trying
just
to-
asking what the difference in prices, you know, would be. And the other part that I would add to that is just thinking about what's coming down the pike, you know, in terms of Act 73 and how that will impact our NCTC. And, you know, because you've got to look at a long-term plan, right? You don't want to just look at like a year out. And would that generate money back if we were growing our program? And, you know, so to me, just a cost analysis of all of that would definitely, I think, be important for us. And looking at what programs do we currently offer, and with whatever's coming, whatever the future's going to bring in terms of NCTC, how would we change that, if at all? And we would want to take that into consideration if we're considering a new building.
Of course.
I think we have a question from Tim.
Just curious, is the parish hall even available for a temporary solution?
I don't-
Is that correct?
I don't know about that, Tim. I know a little bit about that, but I don't think that would meet this use for what it is currently configured. Remember, we need high bays and all of that. We've been able to figure out the classroom for this year, so, on a pinch. Not that I would rule it out yet.
I think classroom, but
Yeah.
Where is that?
Right.
Is that the red?
it's
Is
right
it
on,
behind BFA?
Davis Street across, it's almost on BFA's property.
I do know how much they wanted for it a year ago, and that's greater than that price I just gave you to build for the property itself.
I would tell me it got sold.
Maybe it did. Maybe it did.
If we go looking for the $3 million, is that something that is in the capital fund? And if it is, then would that tap out our capital fund? Or would we need to be, would that be a tax hike or some other?
That would be a bond, or how would we get that?
So, we want to do analysis of the capital fund.
Yeah.
We do have a capital fund plan. I'm not gonna ask Bree to go look up the capital fund right now, but we can bring that to you to the next meeting. I know roughly, but it's not good for me to state budget numbers roughly in a public meeting, so I will be glad to bring that next time. And you should have that. I mean, we wanted to get you all to where we're at right now, and I understand some of these are solution finding. If we did have it in the capital fund and this board chose to do that, you'd have to look at other projects that are scheduled to be done with that capital fund. For example, Safe Tech has a very poor cooling system for the classrooms there. And if we have a 90-degree day, the upstairs in B wing approaches 90 degrees with full sun. And so it's hard to teach classes. So those are the types of things you have to balance as a board to say, okay, if we go and do this, what aren't we doing? Because right now our plan is to tackle Safe Tech next summer. We're doing engineering that you approved as a board when we did the work we brought you last winter, and part of that package was to do all the engineering for that work to be ready to go in the summer of 26. Those are hard decisions that have to be made, and I think we have to talk about those. I'm not saying not to do it, I'm not saying to do it, it's just those are the issues that come in front of you. If you were to go to a bond, then the electorate, or the voters of Maple Run would have to approve that bond. And then you'd have to bond that out, and usually those are 20-year bonds, and we could get you information on what the bond bank's running right now in bonds. If you did it under the capital fund, the voters would not have to approve that with the authorization that you have each year to use that capital fund for uses that the board sees fit. Does that fully kind of answer it, Trevor?
Yes, yeah.
But we'll get you an update on where we are with the capital fund and, what maybe a rough number even of what we expect to go in from this past year it's unaudited, so we don't like to say it's in the capital fund until we have the audit of what the transfer is from FY25.
I'd also be interested in seeing, if we did double the size and could attract more students, and that would bring in more income, I would imagine. Is there a cost offset?
Joanna was going down this road, and right now, CTE governance and CTE funding is a crystal ball. Because the legislature is going to pick that up this year. And it's all tied in. It's not part of Act 73, but it's tied in there because of the private schools and the way the private schools lobbied at the end to create Act 73. So there'll be factions in Vermont that will lobby hard and have political power to keep the CTE system the way it is. I think your group went public, right?
Not yet.
So there's a stance that the CTE directors are going to take on what they'd like to see, and that would not be in the current system that we are now. I don't want to get out in front of their public, so I don't think I can say more than that, unless you think we can, Leanne.
I wouldn't at this point.
Yeah, so let's wait for the CTE directors. They're coming out as a group of what they would like to see. That would be a different governance system we have right now. Maple Run would not have governance. This board would not have governance over the tech center. They could go to something totally different. This is all in the legislator's hands. I can't predict for you what that means for what control this board will have, or Maple Run, or where Northwest Tech Center will be in future years.
But it would stand to reason that it wouldn't make a lot of sense to make enormous decisions about this without knowing that information first.
I agree with you, and that's what's hard about this, is we have kids who need a space. At the same time, we don't know where this is the chaos. I'm going to use that word. I paused for a minute to say if I wanted to, but yes, I'm going to use that is happening between state and federal instability right now in funding in education. So we can't plan far in advance and especially with the governance piece. If the governance piece was stable, I think that's a different point. But with this governance of what's happening to tech centers, we just don't know.
So, Bill, what are you looking for us, from us tonight? You informed us about the situation and
That's what we need. I think, I'm looking at Leanne, but that's what I think we need tonight. We have it solved for this year. We would like to start to solve it, but I think there's a, just as a few people said, cost, what's happening with CTE, we need to gather more of that information. We need to, start to look at other solutions. I also want to hear from the advisory committee for building trades about good ideas that they've thought of. And how we can do it. But ultimately, it's this board's responsibility for that building. And we hired Laz to help us with all code things. I think I've been with Laz enough in the past week with he and I doing code issues between different buildings. But he does a great job of advising us and making sure that we're up to date on all our permits. So thank you.
I would just add that it's not without pain for our instructors, so it will be a challenging year for them. So, they're losing 2 classrooms that they have had routine, and, they've got everything they need right there in that space. So I just wanted to acknowledge that it will be a tough year for them. And so, Lisa and I will do whatever we can to support them, as well as the Building Trades Advisory Committee. I just wanted to say that out loud. It'll be a rough year. And it's, teaching is a tough job as it is.
And it's probably our most populous. It's the most highest enrolled program.
It's the highest enrolled program.
And it's probably the most sought after from students who apply.
Is there a new teacher?
Is there what?
Was a new teacher hired?
We had a 1-year, we had Josh Robtoy, who was our instructor that started last September, and then he re-signed his contract, so he's on his 2nd year. And then Steve Allard has been with us. I think he's going on his 4th year. So we have a young team. Yep.
great. Anyone else have questions?
Thank you.
Laz, thank you very much for your presentation.
You're welcome.
And I guess you can be excused if you'd like to leave.
Well, I'll watch. Thank you.
It is freezing in here.
Thank you. Okay, we're back to our agenda. The next item on the agenda is reports to the board, and it's the student board representative report.
And we don't have any students today.
Well, that makes sense to me. So, thank you for that. The next item is 6B. We have systems of support for students and families. First part is number 1, which is the Common Student Handbook. And I believe we have Jonathan Bracco, and who's the assistant principal at the high school, to present this. And
okay. With that, I am John Brecco. I'm at the BFA Assistant Principal of Student Engagement. It's fancy for attendance and discipline. My presentation will not cost you $3 million. So I am part of the Culture and Climate Committee. It's a little subcommittee of the leadership team. A couple years ago, a leadership team kind of took a next step forward, and we all split off into teams to tackle different issues, trusting that each team would handle them, and then we bring it back for approval. This has been pretty awesome to watch and be a part of, just because of the amount of work we are going through. And a lot of this is from you guys wanting more unification across the entire district. So this is just a small part that we've been tackling for the past 2 years. Next slide. So we did identify in 23-24 that we really wanted to come together and create a unified Maple Run student parent handbook. This was because we noticed that there was a lot of redundancies in every other, like, Fairfield and Town and BFA. And there was also like little differences that would trip us up. So we wanted to, we came to a shared agreement that we would all create a handbook that would start every single school's handbook. So it's like the MRUSD, and then you have like Fairfield or BFA. So we formed a small group 2 years ago, and then 2024-25 was the first kind of iteration of that handbook. We learned a lot, and it has just grown from there. Next slide. So this is this year's team members. They've rotated a little bit, and what I really appreciated about it is we have we have a wide variety of people on, so it's a good perspective when we're looking at things or editing things. Assistant principal level to director of student support to Tim over here. So great group to work with this year, and lots of insight. This was a great group. So I just want to show you a little bit and where it is on the website. So it is on the website. So it should have popped up, but that's okay. I think it's under parents and community. Yep, there it is, 2025-26 handbook. So we cleaned it up a little bit this year, made it look more like a handbook. And basically it has introductions, it's got highlighting the policies we use a lot at schools. For example, we're using a Bright Chat to communicate with families and in our approach, so it gives a little blurb on that. It houses all of our annual notices, policies and procedures, gives guidelines around health, and this is all actually, we'll stop at the health, because that's actually good scroll up just a little bit. Perfect. So we had this is a good example of now this is what we're following across the district. So whether it's a student who's transferring between schools or just coming up through our system, we're not confusing anyone, we're not like, well, why does this student get sent home at this school, but at this school it's different. So this is really a great opportunity to not have, and to reduce the stress of families who have multiple kids, it's the same. Additionally, a wonderful byproduct is all the school handbooks shrunk. They're much shorter, and then they can focus on the things at their school that is important to their school specifically. And instead of a parent having to go through endless pages of policies and procedures every single school, now you just have one. We can update it regularly. We did talk a little bit as we finished this year. There's some things we do want to add. They're a little bit bigger stuff, but we are kind of almost heading towards a maintenance mode where it's like if a new policy comes in, the cell phone for next year, something changes, God forbid we have another COVID thing, we have to put that back in. So it really helps. It's also a great way we've divided up and we go to certain people to ask, like, hey, what do you want? Nurses, what do you want in this handbook so we can support you better?
Maybe jumping to the back page where you were just talking about, or
Oh,
at the
yeah.
end.
So all the way down. So at the last page, we inserted keep going. So here is, and we're still getting them in, but these are links to all the student handbooks. So you can easily jump, when you're done with ours, the Maple Run unifying one, you can easily click on Town, and then it pops to Town's handbook. So it is just a great place just to have all the information in one place. For the leadership team, it really helped us, focus on things, come to common understandings. We actually did this year insert a dress code that we all agreed on. So these are the types of things that we put in there, and then I'm a big consistency person, so a kid will have the same response no matter what school they go to at Maple Run. That's it. Questions? Yeah.
How's the feedback been from the families and parents about this? Have you had any?
No, not yet. Yeah, no, I have not had any feedback. I can say for myself, I have a copy sitting on my desk so that I can point to things and read it, so that's helpful. And, it was a lot of, I'll just admit, it was a lot of fun going through our BFA handbook, going delete, 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 Yeah.
And are there hard copies of these available, or is it just?
You can, yeah, we'll print them for people who need them. We are, in general, trying to reduce that because, I mean, it is, I think, like almost 30 pages. 15 double-sided, then you tack on another, I mean, that's just cost. I'm a tech guy, so I like, just put it online, click on links, but I've printed them off for parents who are just like, I don't have a printer. I'm like, sure, click print, here you go. And I think there are some schools that print, just, that's the school's choice.
So we don't have to sign them as in years past?
So we have not addressed that yet as a unified thing. I do believe that, I think a school does that, I'm not entirely sure, like BFA, we do not like have them sign anything, right? Which I think my principal. So I think that's kind of those next steps to continue to like build on this and like, you know, do we just print a bunch of copies? Another thing we wanna do too is make it look even more like a handbook and like actually like maybe put it into Canva, use some graphic designs. This was really, the creation this year was just me sitting there trying to at least line everything up and make it look less like we just threw a bunch of stuff on a page. But that's something I think we have on our list to do is like, do we have people sign or do we highlight certain sections and then have sign? Like we haven't talked about that as a leadership team yet.
Great.
Cool, all right, thank you everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, John's great. So next we wanted to talk to you, Aaron and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about chatbot. So Aaron Smith just brought up the webpage. And for those of you that don't know what a chatbot is, it took me a little while, even though I've had a lot of technical background. When you go onto a webpage and there's this little thing that pops up and usually in the little right-hand corner and says, hi, my name is XYZ and I'd like to help you. Do you have any questions or a way I can help you when you're on a website? Some are that advanced, ours isn't, we don't have it quite there. You're usually interacting with some artificial intelligence, not a person. That's the way it's set up. So one of the things that we heard constantly from feedback from our community, from this board, from our staff is, hey, it's hard to find stuff on your website. You know, and we know the organization, but others don't. So I'm working with Apogee, who's our website provider. We're using our own chatbot, which if you look at the lower right-hand corner, you'll see our little maple leaf is down there. And it does have that pop-up. But it is a way to ask questions that you want to ask about the website. And so I'm going to ask Aaron to do it right now. So Aaron, can you, what? Megan's doing it? Sorry, Megan. Megan's doing it. Megan, can you ask the chatbot what is the first day of school? So it looks up the information, crawls all our documents, and it's probably hard to see in there. But as this afternoon when I saw that answer, it would say it's next Wednesday. August, maybe you can read it.
I was like, I can read it, yeah. The first day of school for K through 9 grade students is on August 27th, 2025, and for 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students, it is on August 28th, 2025. Pre-K students will start on September 2nd, 2025.
And what time does city school start? You can put that question right in that way.
St. Albans City School starts at 7:30 a.m. and links to a resource. Do you want me to click on it?
Yeah. And so it gives you back to the resource that it might have, or the web page that might be on there. It will read our documents and news that we post up to the website. It has to learn, and Aaron can tell you more about that. But does it? That one, yeah. It depends on that, and so we've had this in place since what? You want to tell a little bit about the work you've been doing to put this in place? So I
think we started July 1st is when we signed the contract, and we need to teach it. So it took a little while for it to get up and running and kind of learn itself. And then we started throwing questions at it. So I don't know if you can see, but when Megan asked the question, down here it gives you, there's a feedback on this answer. So we have been like clicking on that and saying, no, this is actually incorrect, this is the correct information. So we internally have been kind of trying to teach it as well. So throwing questions at it and asking, you know, the people who answer the phones in each one of our schools to throw those questions in every time the phone rings. And then responding to it and saying like, no, actually go here, the information's here. So we've been doing that for about a month and a half now. So it's getting better. But I think we haven't pushed it out yet because we don't want what Marianne just found, like, oh, this doesn't work, you know, type of thing. So we wanted to kind of softly introduce it so that it can keep learning and asking the questions that people are asking.
And so, for instance, today we posted the faculty handbook's been up, but we posted it on the website and made links to it today. So it wouldn't know the faculty staff handbook yet. It knows the answer, like I posted one in there about what's an at-will employee, and it went and got the answer from our master agreement, which has been up there for a while. I mean, all of you who've perused our websites know we have all the master agreements up there. So it doesn't necessarily have to get it from any certain place, but where does it get it from? And it usually, just as you said, it links back to where they got it from, according to this document. I mean, I saw that when I asked the at-will question today.
Right. So I'm assuming Bill's gonna do this, but we have the back end with the analytical side.
Yeah, so Megan or Aaron can bring that up for you so you can show that.
So we can see every question that is asked. It's anonymous, so we don't see the person who's asking or things like that, but we can see the question that was asked, the answer that was there, the feedback the person gave, that it was correct or not correct. So we can go in on the back end and kind of, you know, upload the information or put information in different spots so that it's grabbing the correct information, if that makes sense.
I know if you want to make it.
Yeah, just keep going. See, this is kind of just the back end of the analytical. You can see, you know, every day that's how many questions are asked. And then it kind of lists them into categories, like what were people, top categories, top questions people were asking. And then it can go further down and see actual specific questions that were asked. And what it grabbed the information from. And then our tech team can go in and actually point it in directions that need it to be pointed.
So we need your help.
Yes.
This year, our first public group is the board. I'd like to ask all of you, Aaron and I were talking about this, if you could all just, I don't care what the questions are, but if you said, I'm thinking as a parent or family member, could you ask 5 different questions to the chatbot? And that survey that comes afterwards, that's really important.
Feedback.
That says
It's wrong.
or it's right, that it was helpful or it wasn't, because we know the information so well, and unfortunately know our website so well, we don't know what's working. Like, you know, when people say, hey, the website isn't there, I don't know how to find it, I kind of say, well, I know, you go here, here, and here. Well, people don't get that. I have it intuitively now because I'm on the website enough times. But others aren't. And I don't know what the questions are. You may think of questions that Aaron and I or the administrative assistants wouldn't think of. That was our group to ask, because we figured they get the most questions. They get the calls, 50 a day, what's going on with this? And try to ask that.
So you want us to send our questions to you or just ask them?
Ask it in the chat box. and then take afterwards where it says feedback. If it worked, great. That feedback, I'm glad it's working. But the more important feedback is, hey, just like it happened to you, Marianne, it gave me a different answer than what I was expecting. It gave me this answer. Or just what it tells you in there. Because then that feedback will go, right, Aaron? The feedback goes with the question.
Yes.
So then we'll have Juan on the backside Juan Martinez from our tech team, take those questions, and that's part of what he's doing, and saying, okay, so let me look at the question, it sees the answer that was given back, where should it be going? Mm-hmm. And so you can help us train it. Aaron and I have talked about, we're really trying to do a soft rollout before she starts doing a full press to all the parents and families saying, hey, there's this new tool, and then we put the tool out there, and everyone's like, yeah, it doesn't work.
So it's on each one of our websites, so you don't have to be on our campus, so it should be on each school campus. And then there's also that magnifying glass up in the upper right-hand corner corner, and that's going to, or hopefully that will go away, because that one hasn't been working. That is not AI generated, that doesn't use AI at all. But once we have our bot up and running, we will remove that little magnifying glass.
So it's one of the big things we had during the strategic plan was improve the website, improve accessibility. This is our strategy. So we need your help in helping us make it better for people. Is it gonna work for every family? No, but it's one of the things we're hoping to try to help so people can find information. People are getting used to this on the interweb. I think we're all getting used to using little chat bots when you're trying to look for something. And I'm sure every search engine now has them generated. I mean, Google has their Google AI is sending stuff back and forth all the time at the top of searches.
Cool.
I have a question. Is this chat that we've just talked about, is it preferentially looking at the MRU? You may have answered this or stated it, but I didn't catch it all. Is it preferentially going to the MRUSD website for an answer?
Yes, it's just searching our website. It's not going out to like the World Wide Web and other websites looking for those answers. It's only our websites.
Okay, and so you direct that, or someone that sets it up directs it that way? Because I was just thinking about some of the other ones like Chat, GPT, whatever it is. It goes to the whole web, right?
Yes.
So we all know everything on the web is not accurate.
Yes.
So you have to be judicial when you're looking at what it presents to you to make sure that it's giving you accurate information, you know? So in this case, if it's only going to Maple Run, it's only going to seek out something that we've already published.
That is correct. It's a very specialized site. It's only looking at our Apogee site. It's not going on to the World Wide Web and the questions that you
Great. I like that. I think somebody has a question.
Sure.
How is it doing in terms of years? Because there's a lot of information on the websites from 2019, right? So how is it doing? Do you have to, I'm assuming you have to ask 2025, 2026, right? If you're looking for current information, because if you just asked a question, it could pick a date from another school year, right?
Yeah, so that's what Juan is trying to kind of filter that. So yes, we don't want to take down all of our old calendars, right? So we want to have all school calendars still there that we have, like archived stuff. But we want it to know to go in and grab the most present one.
Gotcha.
So for example, I actually saw Mary Ann's screen and she was doing a chat with it. And she said, I got the wrong, she looked and said, look at this. And she asked, when's the first day of school?
Yeah.
And it gave her it was either December
2nd.
December 2nd was returning from Thanksgiving last year.
So
So sometimes it's how you ask the question, but we want to make it better. And so we need your help to ask things that you can think of that and the more you do that, it's not like you have to email anyone, we're just going through the feedback system, analytical system. The more you help us train it, and we've talked about somewhere early into the school year, we'll start a launch, but we figured for the next 2 weeks, between now and our next board meeting, to have all of you help, just like whatever you can think of, like, I'm looking for, where's the,
Lunch menu.
yeah, thank you, or where's Fairfield's sports schedule, that type of thing.
I think we were talking more importantly for you guys as board members to search, when did the new mission and vision statement get adopted? So it can go in and search the board minutes. So we're asking, ask whatever you wanted to ask, but we were looking for you guys as board members to ask questions that you might be looking for as board members. Do it as moms and dads and however roles you have, but specifically, what do you go on our website looking for? Do you look for our minutes? Do you look when the next board meeting is? Do you look for, what are you asking? Because I think we're gonna ask staff to look for things that they look for, where's the timesheets and things like that.
I had this conversation, I think it was with Becky or it was with Megan about what do we want on our own closed intranet, that staff information that we don't want out on the web, and how can we make the chatbot do that or not? But that's one we've got to figure out for our staff, because they have hard times finding things.
Sure.
And I know we have a hard time finding things.
I mean, this is gonna help all of us for the long.
Just kind of from a paranoid perspective, is there any, how much like student information is on the website? Like could the chatbot be used to, if someone's looking for information about a specific student for reasons we don't want them to be looking for that? Is that a concern, and has that been tested?
I don't think it's been tested, but I don't think we have much personal information about our students on our website.
Okay.
We try to not, use names when we post things,
I would say it's,
Try it.
I think you try it, but I feel pretty confident our website doesn't have student information on it. Now, I know our student information system does in our internal systems because we have to do our
But none of
operation.
that's public
But none of that's public facing.
There might be, Joey won an award or something, there might be a name connected. That sort of thing.
Sports.
Music.
I mean, there's stuff up in the messenger, there's stuff out on Facebook pages that aren't ours.
Yeah.
But we're not, that chatbot's not hitting those places. It's hitting our internal website, our documents, our PDFs we link up to there. I don't know if we haven't figured out how to do the SMORE posting, the newsletters. Have you got that going through this too?
Not yet.
Not yet, but we were talking about like the weekly newsletters that come out from the schools. Is there a way that are on we use an outside application to push those out?
Okay, well, everybody has their assignment. So thank you, Bill and Aaron, for reviewing that with us, and I'm gonna move on.
Just know that, sorry, one other thing I should have said while Erin was saying, I want to thank Erin, she's been leading this project, along with the IT team, but she's been the one pushing this forward, so thank you, Erin.
Thanks, Aaron. All right. Old business. Vermont Education System Reform Status and Update. And y'all have an attachment, 7A, and you have Bill.
Thanks, Nelda. So last time we talked, they hadn't named the members of the school district redistricting task force, which is now sat 2 times, last one being 2 days ago, or a day ago at Waterbury. And they're currently trying to find their way. I know as of yesterday, reading some of the notes from the meeting that happened, they started to set criteria about how they would judge maps that they might bring forward for redistricting. So that has happened. They're trying to work with an outside facilitator through the future Vermont's Education Commission to hold listening sessions somewhere in the fall. They haven't determined those dates or times. They actually just, the last thing they did was agree upon the request for proposals to do that work. So they're in the beginning stages of that. They had a half-day meeting the 1st of August, and they had almost a full-day meeting on the 19th. Reviewing that criteria, there's been debate that was in open session about should we just listen to what people want to tell us through public testimony, and what weight should that have versus what the law says. And what came down is that what the law says, that's in their written pieces there, and the last criteria is what people send in for testimony. And that's part of the way the law was written. This is a top-down approach to redistricting, and that's the law we have. So they're in that place right now. I know that I didn't count. I looked at it, but I didn't count it to write down myself some notes from yesterday. But I would say probably about 6 to 10 districts have given some testimony, or sent written testimony along with the Vermont School Boards Association and some individuals as well to the task force. I know that some school districts are taking positions on this and where they stand. And so Nilda, Charlie, and I talked about that on Monday in our prep meeting, that that some districts are doing that. I think you've all heard, or I can't remember if I told you or not, but there's a Rural Alliance for Education. I don't have that name exactly correct. that has probably about 15 to 20 school districts / supervisory unions that are members of theirs. And they have a definite stance of where they want to go with this law. So there's a lot starting, but not a lot to really report on as of yet. And then, I don't know, Nilda, what have I missed, or Charlie, that we talked about?
Well, I can tell you about the email I received. Is this a good time?
Yeah, I think so. That's kind of what I was setting you up for.
So I received an email from Rennick Darnell Martin. He is I think it's a he, is the chair of the MRUSD School Board. And it was sort of an intro letter, let's get the conversation going kind of thing. And he's interested in looking at a possible collaboration for the approach on do we agree with the redistricting, or do we want to go back to supervisory unions? Do we want to do some other third thing that's different, or what? And when we talked about that, when I talked to Bill about that, he has an idea with his superintendents of getting the superintendents of Franklin County together with the board chairs of Franklin County and sort of having a powwow. But we don't really know where this board's at. So we have to figure that out first. So we're not racing for this, but something to keep in mind, unless someone knows how they feel about it and wants to share that.
I mean, that's the discussion you and I had, Nilda. We weren't sure where this board stood.
Right.
And different boards, some boards have taken formal positions. I don't know, I couldn't tell you where most of the boards in the state are, because I just don't know. The only reasons the ones I know have taken positions is because they sent a letter into the redistricting task force saying their board took a position.
We could put it on the agenda for next meeting and have a more formalized discussion about it, or not, depending on the board feels about discussing it. I can't see the board right now, so I can't,
I'm open to
I can't
discussing it.
tell.
I think having a discussion is important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that just seems like the right thing to do. And, thank you for Rennick for, getting the conversation started. And I think as long as he includes all the stakeholders that we are, the Franklin County ones, it would be probably a pretty good conversation to have. Who knows where we'll end up at the end of that conversation.
Can I just add a piece, Nilda, that when I said I thought the chairs and the superintendents should come together just to talk about what would be the process to have the conversation? Not to get any conclusion, it's just all right, so how do we do this?
Gotcha.
How do we get first of all, do the boards, and I think, I know, Nilda, when you and I talked, I was like, we don't even know where our board stands, so how do we represent that? And I don't want to assume anything for the board and then say to all of them, okay, so how do we do this? What are you thinking here? Right,
Gotcha.
what's your idea?
I was thinking that we wanted to find out where the board was at and then report.
No, I think.
Find out what the process is, and that makes even more sense.
Yeah, but I also think that we should have the discussion. I agree with Nakuma and Joanna. I think we should have this discussion here about where's this board at.
Yeah, this is gonna affect us either way.
Right.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's going to affect us. Yeah.
So discussion is.
So let's get it on the next agenda for a discussion, which isn't that far away.
Could you send us some links that we should?
Yeah, so that's my question, how I could prep you. I've tried to give you updates at every, we've been talking about this since January, right? And so I'd like to find something besides the 155-page bill to send you. And I kind of have, maybe I'll look through some of the VSBA and I'll have to ask Chelsea for the Superintendent's Agency Association if I can take some of that material that condenses it down. What are the big pieces of this bill? I can also use AI to try to compact it, which I've done before.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to read all 155 pages, and it's in legislative language, not in common readable language.
Yeah.
In terms of
Start today.
sort of background material that might be useful, last year we did pass a resolution about the legislation itself.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily apply to what's going forward, but it
Right.
might be useful to bring that up and
Okay.
take a look at what we established as the key points that we wanted to get across.
Okay,
It's a good idea.
that's a good idea. So the resolution is a summary of Act 73, sorry.
And there's already current ones out there online. I mean, there's summaries and.
Yeah, I want to be careful of where they come from.
I'm trying to think of the one I just read.
If it was from Digger or 7 Days, those are pretty good,
Okay.
yeah.
Charlie, I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying. You're suggesting that at the end of the discussion, we come up with resolutions? to
No,
submit?
when this was in discussion last year, the board passed a resolution basically telling our representatives to, among other things, use evidence-based research in their decision-making. And it might be useful to just look back at what we said and what we thought was important last year so that we can have that fresh in our minds as we go forward.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
now,
that's good. We were on a tighter timeline last year than I think we are now. Am I correct, Bill?
Yes.
yeah, it's a different thing because we were talking about legislation that had not yet been passed and now it's been passed. So, but it's, I think a useful bit of history for us to remember where we stood.
Right.
And I would say to you, one of the big debates that's going on, that's pushing people to testify, is the difference between supervisor unions and school districts. And that is one of the big pieces that's being talked about.
Can you send that
Right.
information on that? Because I actually don't know the difference between supervisory units and school districts.
So a supervisory union is made up of multiple boards
Mhm.
with different configurations, so you have multiple organizations within the supervisory union, but I'll get you a summary of that as well. A school district is one board, the way we are sitting currently.
Thank you.
Would having our legislator come and speak?
He doesn't have any power in this.
Okay.
The school district, his power is on the other end of it. And I think you would want to speak to our legislators before we start the legislative session, because they're just to vote on which way they want to go, and they don't have to take any of the 3 recommendations. They can go another direction. But that's where,
Yeah.
my answer is yes, but in the task force,
But not in this.
we don't have a legislature member that sits on the task force.
Okay.
Yep.
Right.
Jack.
Okay,
That's not me.
thank you. Any more questions?
Yeah. So my feeling is we haven't seen any decisions that have been made. So it's all up in the air. So like, I don't have a positive or negative feeling about what's going on. I have a nervousness because I'm worried about what, it looks like there are many people on these committees that are not educators, and there are some. But it would be like taking people off the street and designing how to make your cake at your bakery. People who didn't know how to cook. So it's scary to me. That's just kind of my opinion, just watching this whole thing play out. And I think what's my thought is what might happen is these people are all good people with good intentions, but maybe not enough experience at education. And they might design things that when they put them in place are not going to work very well. So I'm very nervous about it. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Thanks, Jack. Anyone else? I'm gonna move on to the next topic. Old business, the board annual planning, that's attachment 7B. And there's a question there for the main major topics that we need to schedule for the board plan. Bill, I'm gonna let you start on this.
So about a week or so ago, Nilda, Charlie, and I met to map out the annual work plan. We took last year's and actually in between two times when we met, we went through and looked at what we did last year. We had a lot of other operational topics. Some of the big ones were equity policy, creating a policy committee. I forget what the other, some of it was how we're dealing with class size. And so once we start crossing off all the things that we did last year that weren't going to occur this year, kind of came down to the pattern that you see here. And we tried to do what we did last year where there's two times, we didn't get to it consistently. But tonight you heard about supports for students and families, which is one of the goals. We were trying to tie that in there. But looking at each of the district goal areas and having two times to report on those along with what we've had for district, kept all the budget pieces there. The one thing that's not on here is negotiations yet, so I think that's coming soon to a board meeting in September, either the 1st or 3rd, for us to talk about, because we'll be going to teacher negotiations. And then, so you see a budget development process, and then we took the list of educational topics, and one of the things in the conversation about the last piece that Nilda said to me, she said, I think I could tell you what the Franklin County school structure system is for all of Franklin County, but I'm really not sure I'm exactly accurate, and it'd probably be good for this as a board if we're gonna talk about that in H454. So like there's SUs, there's SDs, there's Missisquoi and Maple Run are school districts, but there's just different pieces. And so we tried to plot that out from what you said were priorities on educational sessions, assuming we still wanted to do those. So that's the schedule you see in front of you for an annual work plan. I know, Charlie and Nilda, what did I miss or misstate?
You know, I think you covered quite a bit, and I think that sometimes even though it might be simple to talk about the school districts, the SUs and the others in Franklin County, it's educational and maybe we don't all know it. And I think we've had, you know, pretty good education sessions last year, and they range from simple to more complicated, and I think that's not a bad plan. So I think maybe people aren't ready to just shout out any ideas that they might have, but we could add, I mean, it's a plan, so it's a living document, right, as Bill would say.
Can I make an off-topic suggestion? We were talking about discussing what we're gonna, about the board. Instead of doing it on the week of September, can we do it this week of 17th and we'll be discussing the structures of school districts at that point for educational?
We could.
Because I think we're gonna have a lot of questions about like SUs and whatnot, and I think it'd be kind of good to have that groundwork before we have a discussion as a board.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yep.
So I have a big rock to potentially throw in if there is interest from the board, stemming from questions that have been brought up to me by community members. We have, at the moment, between city school and town school, 2 K-8 schools within a few miles from each other. And as we look at reform and finding how to make things work for students and for the community going forward, one of the questions that's been brought up to me repeatedly is, is there a benefit to making those two schools, basically consolidating those two schools in some way? So one would be, lower grades, and one would be a middle school, which would be a big change and would require a lot of slots in here, if we were to go forward with that, but I think my question would be, is this something that we as a board want to look into? What are the resources we need to find both the benefits and drawbacks, and how do we get buy-in from the community if we were to do that? And basically, having just thrown that out, I guess I'll just see what thoughts are on that.
Whoever's running the camera, can you pan out a little bit?
So people are really interested in that?
Well, it's hard to say because it's been suggested to me. I don't know if it's a large group of people out there that are suggesting it, or if it's a few people. And if someone's talking directly to me, their voices are a bit more magnified. I mean, I know it's come up in the coffee chats that I had, for instance. What I don't know is what the benefits and drawbacks would be, and really one of the big questions would be, is it good for the biggest question would be, is it good for the kids, and then is it good for the community? That all of that would require some looking.
Well, I guess I'll just speak as a parent. I mean, I choose to live in the town because I, base part of that on sending my kid to that school.
Okay.
I would think transportation might be an issue, but I mean, I'm just trying to think benefit-wise. I don't know.
I mean,
The benefits would be.
my gut would be the biggest benefit would be cost savings, because there would be redundancies that could be that could be streamlined. Again, the big question would be, big question, I guess, for everyone would be, do we want to look into that, and do we have the capacity to look into that in the meeting plan, or in the annual plan?
Right, so is the board interested in even looking at this before we go any further with that? Because we'd have to probably get some data and then do some analysis.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, unless there's like a huge advantage economically or academically, which I guess we would have to look into. I think there would be pushback in the community. I mean, there was a lot when we consolidated into one board. But if the benefits outweigh the pushback, and that can be explained, hey, your taxes will go down, or our kids will perform better academically, we could potentially outweigh the pushback. But
I think that we also just forget about Fairfield. So if we structure these two schools to be this way, I like the way that 3 schools are structured similarly, so that all 3 can run the same. Because then you'll have one structure, one structure, one structure. If that makes sense. Because you'd have a younger grades and upper grades, and then a K-8. It's 3 separate types of schools.
It really is.
I like the way it is.
I mean, I don't know that that's the purpose of redistricting, right?
Well,
At this point in time.
This is not tied to redistricting. This would
Oh, I'm
be-
sorry. I misheard that.
Yeah, sorry, I might have given that impression. No, this would not, this is,
Reconfigure.
this is a question of whether it would be in the benefit of our district whether there would be benefits available in our district to do something like that. Now, this would be something that if we choose to look into it, we have control over, with obviously the community has control over, versus redistricting, which is a separate thing that really we're kind of at the mercy of Montpelier on.
Have other districts done this?
Yes.
Or-
Yep. Schools are shut down this past year. Grade configurations have been done in other districts. I think as a board, I do want to say I've been asked by some people that actually surprised me, that they said, you really should be looking at this. They're community leaders. And also, that was one thing I'd say. And the second thing is, we'd want to get someone from the outside to come in and take a look at this. And it's really a best use of educational facility study that say, this is what your education facilities can do. This is your student population. What's the best use of those, of what you have, to get the most efficient use for the best student learning? And that's the type of work, and my experience tells me having a consultant come in and do that and give you that report. And then if the board has that knowledge and says, we want to go further and have a conversation with the community, you can, or you can say, thanks for the information, we choose to do nothing with it. But this is one that I think is really, it's your choice as a board. And one of the things I said to Nilda and Charlie, with my experience with Act 46, I'm not about to go do this without direction from the board. And I actually said from action from the board. I'm not gonna go do anything. I'm glad to do it, either way you go, but I want this board making that decision, not me, and not my influence of it. That's why I'm choosing my words very carefully right now.
I do see the
So this came out of the blue for everybody, excuse me for interrupting. So I don't think anyone's prepared to even talk about it right now, nor do I expect you. So I don't think we should spend a lot of time right now. If we want to talk about this, we can also put this on the next agenda and have a more thoughtful discussion. I'm not trying to kick the can down the road. On the other hand, I don't want us to jump towards, I've heard about trying to do this for many, many years of being on the school board, but it's never been a good approach. There's never been enough people that want to do it. But, I mean, I don't think we ought to jump to it. We have plenty to do. We have a lot to do. I don't think we can make this decision tonight, obviously. So, should we move on and think about this? Talk to your people?
Yeah, I think putting it for another agenda would be a good idea, to have some time to process it.
When we do talk about it, I just really like, what you were just saying about, then there'd be, it would be an equity issue. You know, because it would, some school districts during consolidation, some schools, during consolidation were literally kicked out of districts because they were the only K-8 school, right? And that's when they made various like side-by-sides, is that what they're called?
Yeah, it's a side-by-side.
Side-by-sides, to put like schools with like schools because the issues are so different. So.
Okay, so we're kind of talking about two things here, and I just want to get us together. We have the annual plan, which we would like to add some more major topics to for education. And then we have this redesigning the schools in St. Albans, which would be cool if we could do it. But I think we ought to stick to the board annual plan here for a second and move forward with how we want to add items to that. If you have items that you're interested in adding to the education, you could email them to Bill. And Bill, I'm thinking what you said, or maybe Nakuma said it, we're going to talk about schools, and so learning about school supervisory unions and districts is good, and maybe part of what we should do is build our education sort of on a timeline, so our education is coming before the topic.
Yep.
That we might bring up at the next meeting, follow my drift. So I think we could wait and fill some of that in a little bit later. Does everybody agree with that? I need to see Bobby head.
Yes.
There are
Bobby
nods here.
head. Thank you.
Yeah.
Charlie, don't lose that thought, though. We want that to stay, have a little flicker in our hearts, okay?
It's got space in my brain, so.
Okay.
No, never.
Well, that's a little scary, but that's okay. Are we ready to move on to new business? I think we are. Okay, so 8A is an action item, therefore I will need a motion for discussion. So I need a motion to approve A01, board member conflict of interest, and F05, behavior threat assessment as first readings, and to move to a second reading and possible adoption at the September 3rd, 2025 board meeting. Can I have that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Amanda got the
Thank
second.
you. Discussion. Anybody have any issues with the two policies that you have in your packet? Marion, do you have anything you want to say about either of them?
No, they were minor changes.
Okay, so we're ready to take a vote, we're going to take a roll vote. Amanda,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
Carly,
Yes.
Marianne,
Yes.
Nakuma,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Yes.
Nilda votes yes. Motion carries.
Forgot Joanna.
I forgot Joanna, I always do that, why do I forget you?
Do you? I think that's the first time I've ever said that.
No, I forgot you before I picked it up myself, though.
Okay.
Joanna,
Yes.
thank you. Now it's you. Next item is 8B, and it's the board meeting schedule, and it's kind of obvious if we need to switch locations in November. November 5th to Saks, and November 19th to the central office to accommodate Saks parent-teacher conferences on November 19th and 20th. And then the June 17th meeting is on the same day as graduation. We can hit that one a little later, is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Or should we address it now and just move it?
We should just move it.
If it's June 17th, would we go later than June 17th?
I would suggest not.
Right.
So we either could have it the first and second Wednesday of the month.
Yeah, let's do that, because we had
Okay.
one for the first, let's do the second. And then we can decide what we have to do, if we have to move that around.
Got it.
Perfect. Make it so. Okay, next item is item C. This is also an action item, so I need a motion for discussion. I need a motion to approve the extra and co-curricular guidelines as presented. They're in the packet as attachment 8C, but I think Becky's here ready to talk to us about it.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Thank you. We have a motion and a second, and Becky.
So you've seen these in the past. This is the year that we come to the board to ask for a step increase for our co-curricular and extracurricular folks who are doing those roles and responsibilities. We've made some minor adjustments to the number of roles under the high school co-curricular groupings, as well as the high school extracurricular activity group table. So just some minor edits to those roles that we have not utilized in the most recent past, and some additions to roles that we have utilized most recently. We did talk about step advancement, so we're asking you to approve a step advancement for these folks. The last step advancement was FY24.
Any questions? This is an annual process that we do. I'm not seeing any questions. although
I'm just
I
curious.
can't see the board. Thank you.
Jessica got a question?
I'm just curious because it has the position, a stipend, and an hourly rate. Is that, like, you get the stipend plus the hourly rate, or?
Just the stipend, if it's someone who is currently a staff member who is paid on an hourly rate, they would receive the hourly rate reflected in the call.
Oh, okay.
Okay, any other questions? Ready for a vote? You okay? Amanda,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes?
Jessica,
Yes.
Joanna,
Yes.
Carly,
Yes.
Marianne,
Yes.
Nakuma,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Nelda votes yes. Okay, so that is approved. Next item on the agenda is also an action item. It's the Fairfield Center School Snow Removal Contract. I need a motion to award the Fairfield Center School Snow Removal Contract to Govers Home and Property. Have a motion, please.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Joanna will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Can I
Bring
take
it,
away?
yeah.
We
Okay.
have it.
Yep, so the town of Fairfield has been plowing the town, or Fairfield Center School for quite a few years. And with the price increases that have come through from the town of Fairfield, increasing the last couple of years, and late billing, Fairfield, Albert and Kelsey decided that it would be a best idea to go out to bid. So this year we went out to bid for the first time because it was just year to year that the town of Fairfield was doing it. So I solicited a 3-year bid. And the bids did come in very close. Govers Home and Property along with the town of Fairfield. But overall, Govers Home and Property is the clear winner with them, or with the snowfall season predicted at 32 plowings and 65 saltings, or salt sandings. And that's what Fairfield Center School typically has, is a salt sand mix for their maintenance throughout the winter. That's about it. Are there any questions?
Is there?
I'm seeing no questions.
I've got a question. Is there, so you said that the town of Fairfield has plowed there for many years. Is there any benefit in terms of familiarity, or is the plowing fairly straightforward?
The plowing is very straightforward, and Fairfield has a lot of extra land, so it's not like they need to have extra equipment come in and take snow away. And it's easy to be a one-man person to go through and plow their whole yard, whereas the other schools have bigger parking lots, but the parking lot isn't that big. The town of Fairfield will still come through Park Street and do their loop. The town of Fairfield will come through and do that. But then Govers Home and Property will come and do just the 3 small parking lots that they have.
Okay, so this is just the Fairfield school lots?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Ready to take a vote?
Hold on.
Uh,
So, I know we're just looking at the snow removal. My question is, what other in-kind things does the town of Fairfield do? Like, is this gonna create?
I don't think so, because Albert also had conversations with the town of Fairfield where they didn't seem super interested in continuing the maintenance. So I don't think it's going to create any hostile environment at all.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks. Thanks for asking that, Joanna. All right, we're gonna vote. Amanda,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes?
Jessica,
Yes.
Joanna,
Yes.
Carly,
Yes.
Marianne,
Yes.
Takuma,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Yes.
and Hilda votes yes. Thank you, that motion carries. Okay, we're down to other business. So, next item is an action item, so I need a motion to discuss. I need a motion to approve the warrants.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, I have to do the whole thing here. Acknowledging that passage will act as authorization and signature of any individual board member participating remotely. Who made the motion?
I did, Suzanne.
Is there a second?
I'll second that one.
Thank you. When we're all in the room together and we don't have to do a roll vote, we can just approve them now. Since we're doing a roll, I have to add that second part. Sorry. There's a lot of warrants, as you have noted. Are we ready to vote? Okay, Joanna,
About me first.
You voting for the
About the
warrants.
warrants.
You're number one.
Yeah, yes. Joanna wasn't paying attention, sorry.
Suzanne,
Yes.
Takuma,
Yes.
Marianne,
Yes.
Good as she did.
Carly,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes?
Charlie,
Yes.
Amanda,
Yes.
Hilda votes yes. The warrants are approved. Next item is the superintendent's report, and Bill is here to present that.
Great, thank you, Nelda. A lot of good work has gone on this summer. The leadership team, as John said earlier, has been working really hard to make things easier for staff, for families, and to be clear in our communications and unified in our work. John talked to you about the handbook and climate committee, which did other work besides just the handbook. There's another committee working on learning issues, and a third committee working on PLCs, and a fourth one working on communications plan that I hope to bring you soon, that Aaron was part of along with some of the other leadership team members. And it really is helping us unify our work across the system. And I was writing some things for convocation, and I think it's amazing for me, and this is my 7th year here in Maple Run, to really see where we were when I came in and to where we are now. We had business and HR operations unified, but really not much else at that point, and a lot more is unified, really down to some pretty fine-grained things across the schools, but still allowing the schools to have their own character and take advantage of the strengths and community that they have. So that's a good example of that is an employee handbook that Becky's been leading us with. One of the things I'll be saying to the staff tomorrow and throughout the week of in-service is the handbook was updated as a place to really allow staff to have one place to go. Staff are responsible to answer not only to the district policies, but state and federal laws and regulations. So there's a lot of places to go to know what to do for their jobs. And we really tried to make that a simple, one place to go, clear, simpler for everyone to be able to understand. So that's really one of our, we talked about last year about clarity, but it's clarity and consistency this year, and that's because of the work that's been done by the team. So, over the summer, there were lots and lots and lots of meals handed out to families. We had many people from around the district, that there was a crew of about 5 and 6 that were consistently either at Fairfield here, our town school to hand out meals, and thousands of meals were handed out. I don't know the total number, but just, I was up here one day and there were easily 400 meals that came out of the back of the truck that were handed out. So, great work done there. I talked about alignment, I should have said this earlier, but Alexis has worked with a couple of staff colleagues to really align. One of our school district goals is to have clear and consistent policies to address bias and behavior. And so we have a unified process now for hazing, harassment, and bullying that goes down to very minute levels of how we not only do the work of hazing, harassment, and bullying, but respond to it. So that's consistent across schools. And then we've had a bunch of construction going on. The main campuses for that have been 3, which has been City, Fairfield, and BFA. At Fairfield, we've had a bunch of electrical work, a little bit of HVAC, some other little things we had some windows replaced. The big thing that was supposed to be done at Fairfield was replacing the fuel tank. The lines that are double walled to take the fuel from the fuel tank into the building are back ordered, and we won't get them until winter time. So we're going to store the fuel tank on site, and next summer put the fuel tank in place. The current fuel tank is not leaking. We were trying to be preventative on this because it's past its useful life cycle. We don't have any indications that anything is going wrong with that fuel tank in the ground, but we want to get it out. And so we're going to have to store the fuel tank. It'll be stored on site at Fairfield, and then next summer we'll go in. And that was the best option. There were other options of doing it during the year, and it was a tenfold different cost option, just between storing and trying to go further. Sorry, Marion, I should be passing these. Okay. At BFA, we've had a bunch of HVAC work, some more done. As always, Len's tackling floors. And then you probably saw in I can't believe it's called this, but the new hospital wing, which is the wing closest to Main Street, there was a lot of brick work done. Where brick was about to start falling, so that was attacked. And then the last one is City School. There's been a lot of questions about doors that are at City School. I actually had it confirmed this afternoon. They're in Williston, Vermont at 4:30 this afternoon, so they'll be on site at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. And doors will be in by hopefully Saturday. But we were gonna we had a last ditch standby effort where we bring blanks, different doors in if we had to put them in place to start school. So we had a backup plan. And so there was the 2 things I want to let you know about that one was supposed to happen, and one is one we found. As part of the City School work, we are going to remediate out all the PCBs. As you know, I've reported to you in the past that City School tested positive for 2 locations that are non-student locations that had PCBs in them, and we were going to remove those windows. The State Agency of Environmental, I'm going to have the name wrong, but the environmental agency that approves the work plan just gave us the rights to submit the work plan last week. And we've been talking with them since before January. So it's been a slowdown on that level, so we're going to put off the PCB remediation. We're fine. We've been testing. There isn't anything hitting any of the student areas. But we'll be doing that next summer. I do not want to remediate PCBs even during a school vacation. So, and then the last thing there is we'll be tackling some doors at City School to make the school more accessible for students. As you know, that you may or may not know, that building was built in 1968, and it's concrete block and steel frames. So renovating, and the doors that were put in at that point were 30.5-inch doors. They're not 32-inch doors, which is ADA code. So there's a couple places where we'll be tackling that during the school year. All kids have access, all kids can get in. We have a couple of students that need a little bit wider door. We're seeing coming forward, so we're tackling that as well. The last thing I would do is I invited, and 2 of your colleagues at this table agreed to join us tomorrow for convocation. Nakuma, Jack, thank you very much. If there's a 3rd board member that would like to be there. We are changing up convocation quite a bit from the feedback we got back from staff. Yeah, Jack's got a referee shirt.
Jack, you should have brought it tonight. I apologize.
He's got
I don't think you need a whistle.
You should give him one, he does that.
So the funds,
Oh, I don't want one.
yeah. The fun celebrations that we do with everyone is a way of talking about the good work we're doing. We're doing that here together because I think it's really important for the district to come together. But what we heard from feedback from last year was, if you're gonna give us a talk about like what's the state of Maple Run and where are we at, can you do that in a different setting than everyone sitting in Collins Pearly? So Megan and I are hitting a roadshow at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we're going around to each building over the 3 days to give that presentation. As I have before for this, for the board, I will send you that PDF. I'm just trying to save it for the teachers right now, all the great work that's going on. A lot of it is recognizing we're on the right path, according to what our data, our student data, we talk about, in there I talk about all the places we've been gathering data from. And whether it's students, staff, families, community, and research, we're going down the right path. Do we have tweaks to make? Could we make it better? Always. Our data is showing improvement, and you told us that as a board, and you told us some of the next steps last spring as well, so we're bringing that around for convocation. And our theme is a prep rally tomorrow here at Collins Pearly on the football field.
What are you wearing, Bill?
I have a special costume that Tim bought. I had to thank Tim for that costume.
Do we ask or do we wait for it to be a surprise?
Oh, just wait. He looks really snazzy.
We're gonna have pictures, right?
Oh, there'll be pictures, I'm sure. Aaron Rousseau's gonna be running around with a camera, so I'm sure I will be on camera. So, it's all good. It's all good. We're trying to make it interactive and people doing stuff and cheering, but also talking about, like, we've done a lot of great things as a team together as a district, and it's really improved learning for kids. So let's keep doing that. So that's strengths based. That's what I have. If anyone has any questions or comments, or if we could use another judge, if anyone wants to come between 1 and 3, I will tell you there's Ben & Jerry's is helping us out for food, for a snack afterwards. It doesn't quite meet our wellness policy.
Between 1 and 3?
Yeah.
Where?
Right here.
What do you have to do?
You have to help judge the different schools as they compete in a pep rally. Like they do at BFA or the elementary schools when they do it by classes. Yeah.
It'll be the most fun ever held here at Collins.
Tim is one of the, there are 4 or 5 people. Tim is one of them. Stacy Rulo, Aaron.
This is Stacy's show. I'm just following her parade.
Yeah, we are all following Stacy's parade. Stacy is fully in charge.
I'll come help tomorrow.
That'd be great. That'd be great. So yeah, if you, for Nukuma, Jack, and Susie, if you could be here like 12:30, we have a nice little clipboard for you to take judging notes on. Tell us who wins.
Judging notes on.
All you gotta do is give a score.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Bree's leading the central office group.
I'll send you my memo later. Okay. Deal.
Okay.
What do you
Yeah, I one serious note, I said we're having Ben & Jerry's. I really want to thank the Ben & Jerry's plant. Anytime we call them, they say like, what do you want and how much do you want and where do you want it? And they don't charge us a dime. They just
They're doing Special Olympics too.
They're doing Special Olympics. They asked me what else I thought. I said, let's do Special Olympics, call Tim.
Talking the other day, we're gonna do that.
So they gave all the teachers, they recognized the teachers in the spring. So they're very helpful.
Thank you.
Good night, Hilda.
Okay, we're up to board announcements. Are there any board announcements from our board? Looking. Okay, I do have one, actually 2 announcements. Well, 1 announcement and 1 comment. You may remember that we submitted an application for the 2025 Board Excellence Award to the BSBA. And today I learned that the winners of that award are Colchester. So, the Colchester School won the award. The letter was very nice. Of course, when I talked to Bill, I had to chuckle because they put in the letter that it's such an honor to be nominated. And I was like, we nominated ourselves, so. I'm honored. tries to do, and I think we should do it every time. And actually, it was Jack that sort of told me about it, so keep your ears open for any other award we can apply for, especially ones that have money attached.
Yes.
Jack's got a comment?
Yeah, well, I was on the awards committee of the School Board Association. I had to recuse myself because I couldn't vote for us, even though I believe we're the best board in the state. Colchester's a nice board, but not as good as us. But, so I had to like stay out of the discussion, whatever. I felt bad about that. You guys should have won, and I cried all night when I found out. But anyway.
Thank you.
You are, and we are a great board, and when I looked at all the differences, because I saw the other, there were 6 that were nominated out of all the boards in the state. And,
Were we close?
well, because I had to stay out of the discussion, you know, for conflict of interest purposes, I don't know. I just know we should have won.
Clearly.
Simple as that.
Well, good answer, Jack, because we're moving that policy to a second reading, so I'm glad you didn't break it.
I probably break it every other one, but.
The only other thing I wanted to mention is, even on a serious matter, I'd like to welcome back the teachers, the staff, the administrators in the schools and in the central office, and be really excited for this new school year. I think our board, as everyone has said, is a great board, but I think our staff and teachers, etc., are fantastic. And I think the whole board agrees. Anyway, one more thing, plan for board observations and reflections. So this is familiar to most of you, we've had this on the agenda. My question to you is, do we wish to continue the same process of attending different events and using that observation form to complete observations and then sending them in to Aaron Smith, I think, and is it Aaron Smith?
Yes.
Yes. And he collates them, and we look at that data at the end of the school year to see if we're meeting our goals of observing and noting that we are indeed doing what we said we wanted to do. Yes,
I made a suggestion at the end of the last school year about identifying other ways in which we can complete those observations, because I think that we can agree that the majority of them were about sports and visual art performances, and that's really, I don't think that was the intention of this. You had talked about maybe trying to come up with ways that board can go into the schools or get specific feedback. And if we want to look at our goals and then at least be able to find, you know, some for each of them, certain ways that we can better observe, I think it would be more, you know, applicable and or beneficial for us to have more of a variety of how we can conduct those observations.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So I want to be really honest with the board, I heard that. I am struggling with that the classroom is not a public place, and you're in there as public. And that's what I'm struggling with. And so, when we have public events where anyone can come, of course, come to those. And maybe it's it's easy to identify, as you said, Joanna, the arts and the co-curriculars that happen.
It can be trainings. It doesn't just have to be the classroom, Bill. I think that's, you know, really narrow, you know, approach to this. There's a lot of other ways that we can be doing observations other than being in the classroom.
I hear you. I'll
Staff
talk with
meetings.
Okay.
Again, I hear you. I'll talk with Nilda about that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, certainly. I like the idea of maybe going to a training that, we wouldn't have to stay necessarily for the whole training, but just to maybe see the beginning or the assessment at the end, if you do assessments or whatever. But let's think about that a little bit, Joanna and company, and we'll figure it out. Okay, agenda items for future meetings. I think we discussed a couple tonight. No executive session needed. Is there any further stuff that needs to come before the board? If not, we are adjourned at 8:05.